Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Connecting Women in Insurance with me, your host Julie. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're going to jump right in today, and I am so thrilled to introduce Miss Erika Duda, who is the founder and CEO of InsureQuest Training and Develop. Thank you for joining me today, Erika.
Thanks for having me, Julie.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you do there at InsureQuest and kind of your day to day.
Sure. Like you said, I'm the founder of InsureQuest Training and Development. What we do is partner with small to medium sized organizations that need training support. A lot of our clients are those that are scaling quickly and need to catch their training up to what their current growth is. So day to day would be anything from working with clients to, develop any sort of their internal guidelines, to posting on social media, because that's a lot of what I do right now as well, to working with our group here to develop courses for our clients, and just a little bit of everything. And I think that's something that starting a business, you don't realize that you have your hands in absolutely everything. And things that you may not have had any experience in, such as business development or sales, you are now thrust into that. And so it's literally every single, part of the organization I have a hand on. And it's interesting. It's definitely different every single day, but and it's challenging, but it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Okay, so you're you do training and development now, but what made you decide on a career in insurance? Did you start out that way, or how did you get to this point? Where did you
So
begin?
the so the insurance, much like I think everyone, or I don't want to say everyone because there are people that actually go to school for risk management.
Right.
I found a job that looked cool, and it was, it was a total loss appraiser for
Mm-hmm.
Mercury Insurance. And I'm like, it sounded really interesting. So I applied and really enjoyed the process. Enjoyed, valuating and, negotiating and kind of putting together the pieces. So that's what led me to really stay with insurance. I
Okay.
was very, very fortunate to be recruited, and I will always thank Cindy Tulka for finding me, and she recruited me over to Progressive a few years into my tenure, where I really was able to grow and develop, not only as a claims adjuster but as a leader. So I held a number of positions at Progressive, where I started as a claims generalist, and really it was end to end handling. Moved into management roles, where I oversaw, a team of 5 to 7 adjusters,
Mm-hmm.
and really developed those leadership skills, giving feedback, going through the whole QA process, developing QA checklists for our team, and then moving into a process development role, which I absolutely loved. And I was on a team that worked on at the time, they were revamping the drive-in process nationwide. And so they
Okay.
were trying to figure out how to create the best customer experience for this drive-in situation. So we were able to analyze data, visit shops, and put together our recommendations for which shops work best, what the process should be, and that ended up being rolled out nationwide. So that was really, really fun to be a part of.
I bet.
Then, unfortunately, 2008 happened, and I think, like a lot of people listening to this, experienced a little bit of a downfall, and I was laid off from that position. And so from there, I pivoted and worked for a couple of different companies before moving over into the IA space. And that was really, really eye opening. Because before working for carriers, it's very much like you are, in the zone kind of thing. You're in your
Mm-hmm.
cubicle. You see the development path within that organization, but moving into I worked for SCA appraisal for a while, and to see how many different vendors were out there and how many different roles outside of just being a claims adjuster really opened my eyes. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I can do more than just claims. So I moved into, and I did IA work for a while through a couple of different firms. I was a part of the big merger State Farm project where they moved everyone from regional to zone, and I did that for a number of years.
Nice.
And what really struck me about the IA world versus the carrier world was the difference in training.
Ah,
On the carrier side, every position I would be sent to this amazing training university. You'd sit down, you'd get 3 weeks of onboarding, support, learn the policy, learn the process. You would come, walk away from that in really good shape to handle your work. On the independent side, you're thrown into stuff
mm-hmm.
and you're lucky if you get a day or two. Most of the time, most of the assignments, it's you get a day and a stack of PDFs.
There you go.
At least that's what it was at the time. Like, we've gotten better as an industry in some aspects, but there's still there's still a need.
Right.
So being in the IA space for a while, I did end up partnering with a TPA and an IA firm and had the opportunity to be their trainer and essentially built their training program from the ground up. So
Nice.
we were able to successfully create a training program for that organization, to help not only the internal staff that they were bringing in as W-2s, but also align the 1099s with the processes that they needed to in order to successfully deliver to their clients that they needed to. So after doing that, it's something that I am extremely passionate about, and I was very successful at. So I launched into InsureQuest, and that IA firm actually became my very first client. So so obviously I was still doing a good job for them, and I've been doing this ever since for the last year and a half or so.
Awesome. Awesome. So, um, you we talked beforehand, but in training, because I do that some too.
Yeah.
What do you think is probably the biggest misconception about training people, or what people think training should look like?
So I think a lot of people think training is let's get everyone into a room and show them a bunch of PowerPoints.
Mm-hmm.
And if they sit there for an hour and if they look at these PowerPoints, then they're ready to go, and let's good to go. But if you take a look at the data, if you take a look at the forgetting curve, within like an hour of leaving a training program, you lose something like 40% of what you've learned. So without reinforcing that
Mm-hmm.
material, you've essentially wasted that hour. And so I think that's the first big one. I think the second big conversation I have with, particularly with IA firms,
Mm-hmm.
is why should I train 1099 adjusters? And the answer that I provide is you're not necessarily training on those core values. If you're an independent adjuster, and this is my soapbox, but if you're an independent adjuster and if you're getting paid to be that role, you should come in with a certain set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
But
Agreed.
every adjuster does not have the same set of experienced skills. So you have to align that experience with what your process is and what the client's expectations are. And I think that's where a lot of firms get lost, where they
Mm-hmm.
think like, okay, I'll bring in experienced people. I see it all the time. They're like, 3 to 5 years experience. Well, what does 5 years experience mean? Five
Right.
years, someone, doing just cats, maybe doing one or two storms is not going to be the same level of experience as 5 years running daily claims, being able to see all these different cause of losses and really understand
Oh, I
that
agree.
process.
I agree.
So,
And I very much not a PowerPoint person. I've,
I don't
when
think anyone is.
no, but when I first started helping out with training here and I did a PowerPoint, I forgot to change the slides. Like, I'm literally not a PowerPoint person. And
Yeah.
they would be like, Julie? And I'm like, oh crap, click, click, click,
Yeah.
because I would get lost in the teaching or the everybody stand up and let's try this because it's I think if you sit, I had a preacher one time say, the mind can only endure what the seat can stand, and it's true. You can only sit so long, and then you quit, you zone out. So I love that you are not PowerPoint focused.
Yeah. Well, and when you look at, how people learn best and how they best retain information, it's really being able to capture visually, audibly, and also if you can apply it kinesthetically,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to the level of retention is going to increase. And so you're going to get that much more out of that investment in training.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. So in all your years of experience, because you've had a lot of years of experience in different aspects of the insurance industry, which I think is one reason your program is so well rounded. But did you ever make a decision or a mistake and you thought, I'm done, I have to start over, I'm fired. Oh well, but you learned a really valuable lesson that helped you later in your career, or you were able to use to help someone else.
So I've had a couple mistakes.
Just one or two.
Look, and if we had a couple glasses of wine and it was a different podcast, we might get into some messier ones. But I have one in particular that isn't necessarily claims related,
That's
but I
fun.
think it's a really good lesson.
Okay.
So in starting this business, and
Mm-hmm.
again, going back to, there's a lot of things with what I do now that I've never touched before.
Mm-hmm.
Sales, business development, going out and being like, "Hi, I'm Erica. Like, work with me." This was all so foreign to me, and I'm introverted as heck, and so walking into like a conference, like the first time I did, I nearly had a panic attack. I had someone in my life
Mm-hmm.
who was an experienced entrepreneur. And
Okay.
so I leaned very heavily on him. And he kind of took the role of mentor and helped me through a couple of things. But I found that I was listening to him more than I was listening to my own instincts.
Ah.
And there were things that he recommended that I ended up doing that were mistakes
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't listen to myself. And so I think the biggest thing from that, and then it turns out a lot of what he had shared was actually it wasn't, it was a, he overinflated his knowledge,
Got it.
which was like, okay. So this person that I've known for years was like, oh, okay, well, he's really not as knowledgeable as he's saying, but didn't want to tell me that because it was, inflating
Mm-hmm.
his own ego. And it was just such a lesson in I'm actually a lot more capable than I thought I was. And I put too much emphasis on someone that I thought was smarter than me,
Mm-hmm.
but in reality wasn't. So that was one of my bigger ones recently.
I love that. And I'm a huge believer in follow your gut. Go with your gut. Doesn't matter what anybody else is telling you. And if everybody is like, you're just so wrong, but you know in your gut you've got to do it a certain way, you
Yeah.
just do it that way because you're gonna the decision's yours ultimately, and you're gonna reap the consequences, good or bad. So it's on you, but I think you need to absolutely follow your gut always. I love
Yeah,
that. That
it's
is
my
an
business, it's my name, it's my reputation. And it's like you can outsource certain things,
mm-hmm.
but don't ever outsource your intuition. And
Love
that's
it.
the yeah.
I love that statement. That's awesome. Okay, so who was or is the most influential person in your career and life, and why?
So I hate the word, I hate the most because it's always like this. Okay, well, is it the most? So I'm gonna say someone that is influential.
Okay,
So I'm going back and forth of personal or professional.
you can do both. We've got time.
I got time. So professional, I'd have to give it to my very first manager, David Kim, and he was the one that hired me in Progressive. So I always give him kudos and thank him for that opportunity. But when I was promoted to a lead, he gave me a book on servant leadership.
Nice.
And in the inside, he signed it, and he said, "Win over their hearts, and then you will have everything else." And I think that was such important advice, and that's the type of leader that he was.
Mm-hmm.
He led with his heart, and you genuinely knew that he cared,
Mm-hmm.
and he would do anything possible to make sure that you were taken care of. Progressive also did an amazing job because they were very work work environment centric,
Mm-hmm.
where one of the measures of the manager was actually a work environment survey that would be sent out every quarter. So if the employees weren't happy, the manager didn't get their raise.
Ah,
So it created this actual like 360 feedback loop with, I don't want to say consequences because that sounds negative, but with consequences. So
right.
it was on the line. So people genuinely leaned into making sure work environment was important, and that carried with me throughout my entire career. My thesis in grad school was on workplace initiatives and generational differences and how they affect different generations in the workplace, and so it's something that I've always been passionate and fascinated with. So
I
got to give
love
it up to
that.
David. And then I've got to put my mom in there too because I wouldn't be anywhere without my mom. And she, so right now I'm reading a book called "Pay Yourself First"
Right.
by, I think it's Kelly Haig. I think it's the name. Oh, Aaron Haig. Aaron Haig.
Okay.
And I'm 9 chapters into it. It was recommended to me by someone that I deeply respect. She just started a consultancy firm. She's like, Erica, read this. This is going to help with your pricing. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
read this book. So I'm 9 chapters into it, and it's been 9 chapters of you can do math. Women are just as good at math as men. And it's an important message, and obviously it's a message that people need to hear, but every time I hear it I'm like, well, yeah, I can do math. Well, of course I can do math. Of course I can handle it just as much as a man. And I have to thank my mom for that because there was never a question of, can you handle this? It was always, you can handle anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anyone in your life. You can do it all. You just have to figure out the tools and the processes,
Right.
but you don't need anyone.
Right.
So
I like that.
those are my two.
Moms can be our biggest cheerleaders. There's
Yeah, they
they
really
can
can, and I'm very very fortunate to have one that is.
myself. Myself. I love that. Okay, so you're you kind of already done this, but you may have another piece of advice. But what advice would you give women listening today who want to move forward in their careers no matter what industry?
So I think the best advice I would give is take control of your own promotion and your own future.
Mm-hmm.
While I can do everything, I also grew up with, well, you just need to work hard and keep your head down, and then someone will notice you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They don't notice you. If you are not your own advocate, and if you don't put yourself out there and show what you want, say what you want, ask questions, other people who are probably not as competent as you will get further ahead. And I've seen that more and more in my career. So take charge of your career. Don't be afraid to stand out. Ask the questions. Tell people what their goals are. If you have a manager that's not doing one-on-ones with you, request the one-on-one. Like, don't leave it to them to do it. Take charge of that process.
Okay, that is good advice. I like that. Um, okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit here.
Okay.
But before we
Okay.
do, I want to go back to it's just kind of stuck with me, and I forgot to ask. But when we were talking about the no PowerPoints, okay, can you give me an example and explain like maybe a class you do or something you do and what it entails and how maybe how you would go about teaching it, or do you bring people in? Is there a place you go to? Like we have a training house that we'll take adjusters to or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of am curious about that, and I apologize for not asking sooner, but I
You're
am
fine.
curious about how you go about it and like if I were to come to you for training.
So currently we partner directly with companies.
Right?
So it's really what their needs are. The majority of what we've done has been either online
Mm-hmm.
through like workshops like this, or through e-learning services.
Okay.
So, for example, I had a client that wanted an e-learning library created.
Okay.
So we created we created their LMS from the
Okay.
ground up, essentially. So those two things, but certainly if there's someone that needs something live,
Right.
I can
Okay.
come to them.
So if I took one of your classes, how would online, how would you make that interactive for me? So that like say I'm yeah, tell me how it would interact.
So a lot of interaction comes, at least how we do it, through storytelling,
Okay.
and through utilization of the different types of like kinesthetic things within like an LMS. There are the things such as like the click to continue,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, where you're actually making choices. But if you don't link that to a story, it just becomes you're clicking through stuff.
Right.
So we really try to rely heavily on storytelling, on going through making decisions,
Oh, I like
you
that.
know, watching videos, So it kind of breaks up the information into like kind of bite-sized chunks.
Oh, I like that.
So it's not just a straight
Right, not just
taking a
a
course
straight
online.
read and answer. Oh, I
Yeah,
like
because
that.
that no one likes taking those courses,
No.
and it is a bit of a challenge for e-learning to bring in that element of how do you make it interactive, how do you make it
Mm-hmm.
fun, and there's certainly those ways to do it. It's never, not yet at least, never going to take the place of a live everyone get up and go
Oh
do
yeah.
something. And we've got a couple of those that we have set up ready to go, where it's kind of like a game, like Clue and stuff like that, where
Oh,
you go
fun.
through some stuff. But that's at least how we're trying to make it a little bit more engaging and
I
fun.
love that. I do
Yeah.
love that. And thank you for explaining that because I mean,
Yeah.
we we have an LMS here, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. But I've taken through other people some online courses where it was read and answer, and I mean I almost fall asleep. But the ones where you got
Yeah.
to click to move forward or go back and forth or check or move stuff around, I remember everything that I did.
Yeah.
Like it is so it's so good. So anyway,
Yeah.
um,
If you can link an emotion,
mm-hmm,
it very much is like storytelling.
mm-hmm,
So if you can link an emotion to what you're learning, that's when you have that retention. So it's like
yes,
if you think about like movies, like you remember every element of a movie
mm-hmm.
because you're invested in that character, you're invested in that story arc. And so you create the same kind of thing within training and you'll get that same result. So
I like that analogy. That's excellent. Okay, so we're gonna move on to some fun questions, and
okay.
just answer quick. It
Oh
doesn't
God.
matter. You can't get it right or wrong. I mean, there's no
I
right
don't
or wrong.
know. We don't know each other that well yet, Judy. I
You're
guarantee you I can get it wrong.
no, I'm pretty sure you can't. So, okay, so what is your favorite pastime or hobby?
Ooh, right now it would be okay, no money, catching up on Netflix. Money, traveling.
I love it.
Depends on the year.
That was good. Okay, what's the best compliment you've ever received?
Ooh. God, this is hard so because most of my stuff is self-deprecating. Um, it really is. That I am a loyal and true friend.
That's an amazing compliment because these days that is extremely hard to find.
And that's ain't that the truth.
It really is. Okay, so what's your biggest pet peeve?
Arrogance.
Yeah,
I
that's
hate people that are arrogant. Like get over yourself. Literally.
yeah. I get that one. Okay, if you could have any animal in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh no.
There's no limitations. Whatever animal
Oh,
you want.
money, no money.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do love sloths.
Hmm.
And I actually have a tree at the sloth sanctuary because I donated money to them. Um, so I'd have to say a sloth.
They're very sweet. They're
They're
very
so
slow,
cute.
but they are cute.
So am I.
Okay, if you could try or do any job in the world without having to worry about education or anything in that or like that, what would you want to try?
How long do I have?
What do you mean
Well,
to try it?
like how long am I in the role? Like
Um, I don't know.
this is my neurodivergent brain. I'm like, I need details
So
here.
6 months.
6 months. Oh, president. President. Absolutely. Give
Okay.
me give me 6 months. Give me 6 months.
Okay.
We'll all be good.
So if you could master any language instantly, what would it be?
Ooh, I would have to say Spanish because I did. Okay, so I have a funny story about this, and my friend is going to kill me for saying this, but I have to mention it. I'm Lithuanian, so I do speak Lithuanian already. I'm bilingual,
Okay.
but I tried to take Spanish because everyone took Spanish. And this was in college, and my friend is from Ecuador, and she's like, Erica, I will help you learn Spanish. And I'm like, awesome. So she tried to tutor me, and by tutor I mean we went to a Mexican restaurant and had margaritas. So then came test time, and she's like, oh, I'm going to help you, it's going to be no problem. And we sat down to take the test, and she's like, I don't know any of this. And I'm like, ma'am, you said you knew this. So that was my only D minus in college. And I don't know Spanish, and I blame her. So every time it comes up, and now she has a daughter that's 15, and she's learning Spanish, and I'm like, oh, don't ask your mom because
Yeah.
I got a D minus from her. And she's like, no, it's because you didn't try. So yeah,
That's funny.
it'd probably be Spanish.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Gio. I'm gonna send this to her.
Okay. What, as we kind of come to a close here, what direction do you, I mean, I know you just started. Your business is still in the brand new kind of infancy stages. You're getting your
We're
feet
still a
under you,
baby
but
company.
what direction do you think the next leg of your journey will take you on? Maybe personally, if you want to go there, and or professionally.
So I always saw the company continue to be digital, or fully digital, so that we could be nomads. I'd actually love to spend some time living in different countries,
Nice.
and that's a goal of ours over the next couple of years. I'd love to continue. So we've been working primarily with businesses over the last year and a half or so. We are now working on our own catalog of courses that will be offered. So the goal is to get that built out, not only for the insurance space, but outside as well, and just create really fun, engaging courses that when people see them, they won't go, oh my God, I have to take this course, this sucks. But actually be excited about it, be able to learn some really good information, have some fun doing it. So that's where I see us over the next couple of years, growing and possibly relocating.
Well, I think that is a great goal because, I mean, I work in this and train and things, but I see a great need for it. And honestly, I can see where it would be easier, yes, but I can see where it would, for a company, where it would be long term more beneficial financially and all around to lease, so to speak, the general courses. If they
Yeah.
needed something specific for them, fine, but to do it through someone else who is constantly updating and managing the overhead and all that, and they just, here's my subscription or whatever fee. And I think that is a fantastic goal, and I think you are
Yeah.
going to do exceptionally well with that because there is a
Thank you.
huge need.
Yeah. And that's kind of the goal. Like, if we can do like an 80-20, where it's like 80% general, because at the end of the day, a claim's a claim. And so,
Right.
and regardless of what, organization you work for, a lot of it's the same thing.
It
So it
really
really
is.
comes down to client expectations, client specific, and how does my organization work? How can I align your skills to my organization?
Hmm.
And if you can get that through to the adjuster day one, you're saving money on QA, you're saving money on your managers having to tell the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
You're reducing all of those calls. So there's definitely benefits to
There really
getting
is.
that out there quickly.
Oh, yes, I agree completely. So, do you have any final remarks for anybody watching or listening? The one takeaway you would love for people to get from this if they got nothing else?
I mean, the biggest thing, just I think I'll just go back to, you know, you are smarter, more capable, better than you think you are. And I will, having now had multiple meetings with a lot of organizations, a lot of people in C-suite, I can tell you, you are smarter and more capable than you think you are. So keep doing what you're doing. If you want to pursue something, pursue it. And don't let any insecurity or anything stop you from doing that. Because I think that's the biggest driver of failure, is that insecurity to start. And also, don't be afraid of failure, because you learn so much from your mistakes.
Don't you though?
You're gonna fall. One of the best things that I saw on the internet is, like, your first podcast is gonna suck. Your first, in my first training program sucked. My first pitch was terrible, but you get better. And so just keep doing it.
You do get better.
Work through it, and you'll be successful and get to where you need to go.
I agree. Well, Erika, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I do love what you said about follow your gut and to not doubt yourself. That's amazing. And I completely agree. It is a big one.
Yeah.
And I thank you all for joining us on another episode of Connecting Women in Insurance. And I will see you all again next time.